seem to stay, and I've been here before, dragging myself round the track. Yeah, I've been here before, and that's what's been holding me back. I'm just worried about forever, and wondering if I miss her pretend. So I'll keep driving through the dawnbreak and fighting against the same fate again.
Gotcha. How's it going?
Tim and Eddie,
Yes, sir, Jamie.
All right.
look at you guys. Handsome Ghost. What a cool looking duo. What a band. You guys make me want to be in a band. You guys make me question my life choices. And I really should have just opened a band when just researching how cool you guys are.
Not
Why don't
really.
you hop on with us?
You don't want any of that. Oh my God, Eddie, Tim, so great to see you guys. By the way, the self-titled album comes out August 25th, but a couple new singles out already. Like You Lost Your Mind, it's already out. Where are you guys located right now?
I'm in central Massachusetts, about an hour outside of Austin, kind of in the middle of nowhere.
Okay. What about you, Eddie? Where are you?
I'm in Los Angeles, kind of
Right.
temporarily right now.
Right. So how does that work, guys? Because, we see some of our musician friends, sometimes they live in remote areas, but not that far. I gotta be honest. Like maybe there'll be someone in Nashville and someone in Atlanta, and they'll kind of like do the drives or something like that. How have you guys managed to kind of finish this process and do all this, at a distance? Has it been easy?
I think it's been relatively manageable. Eddie's been, he's been accommodating with his travel. But we work out of the home studio here, and we lived together here prior to Eddie moving out to LA. So
Right.
we've kept it. We do most of the work here in Massachusetts. And yeah, it's just a lot of back and forth for Big Eddie.
Sure.
Yeah. We finished this record though when we were still there. So
Gotcha.
yeah, I was kind of this record specifically, self-titled, I was kind of back and forth between my now wife's place and Massachusetts. So it was a little bit of back and forth, but it was kind of during the pandemic. So
Yeah.
when we were doing this recording.
Good.
Yeah, so it's kind of quick hops back then.
Gotcha. Well, I mean, I'm sure it's doable with stuff like this with Zoom. And by the way, Tim, Handsome Ghost started in 2014. That means that next year is the 10th anniversary of the band, of you guys creating art and just enchanting audiences. Being able to do anything for 10 years, Tim, honestly, it's like incredible to me and admirable. I mean, and the fact that you guys have done touring through a pandemic, through all these things, like, do you ever stop to think, like, and the same with you, Eddie, do you guys ever stop to think, man, like, we've done this for a decade and we're still going, how has it happened?
Yeah, I think we try to do that more often now, honestly. I think, it's a really long time for any band. So it's definitely something to be proud of. It's crazy that it's been 10 years, honestly. But yeah, I think you're lucky if you get a couple years. So I will certainly take it. I think it's important from time to time to sit back and, take stock of how far you've come. And we've been trying to do more of that.
Yeah.
I think it's easy to get kind of like caught in the grind and just like any job. But yeah, I think about that a lot. Absolutely.
Man, that's
I feel like
Go ahead, Eddie.
I feel like I'm definitely a creature of habit. So maybe like the first few years were tough. But now that we're in it, it's kind of just like, it feels like what we do. It doesn't feel like anything that I really stopped and questioned too frequently, though it has happened a lot.
Yeah. No, you guys are like better than ever right now. And Tim, I want to ask you about your writing in a second, but Eddie, I was looking at the videos that you guys do. They have some ghost videos, and they are so good. And I feel like bands now, Eddie, they leave, like, people don't pay attention to videos anymore. They kind of leave that out sometimes. We should change that. But like, Call Me When You're Pulling Up or Birch Trees, like, this visualization, it's such an important part for you guys in the band, right, Eddie?
Yeah, and I think a lot of that has to do with Honestly, Tim's brother, who does most of the videos for us, he just kind of has like a, sometimes it's collaborative, sometimes he just has an idea, but his style just thankfully really matches with our music, and we're able to kind of like feed off of his creativity as well for the visual element. But generally, like, I think for Tim and me both, like the entire picture has always been important. So we've always been like album guys as opposed to singles. We've always been, each record has kind of a world that they live in, and the visuals are definitely an important part of that. Nick Noyes has been a huge part of that. He's essentially part of the band, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad you said that, Eddie, because yeah, you're right. Handsome Ghost, I feel like you guys could be perfect for any era, like with like the big vinyls, just I feel like you guys put a lot of emphasis into the art form of it, and that just complements the music perfectly. That's always been like a focus for you, right, Tim? Even when you were a teacher and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're kind of old school in that regard. Like that, we grew up, listening to albums. I sound like 100 years old. But no, I mean, that's important. I always liked I admired like before I started playing, I was really into what bands did to make albums, and I just thought it was the coolest thing. Like people going to the studio together, and it just looked like such a good time. And I think now that we've done it, the album is still important to us because it kind of just marks, like a timestamp. It marks that period in time, and those collections of songs kind of have their own context to them. Nothing wrong with just doing the singles thing, but I guess we just never really been into that. It's never really been particularly appealing. So we're still going the album route.
Yeah. Don't you think, Tim, like, you have a background in writing as well and teaching, but like for the sake of this conversation, like writing, you were always into books, and books were like such a physical thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, Tim, you're such an incredible writer just in general. And I'm sure, Eddie and everyone says this to you 5 times a day, but, you've been writing in some capacity for most of your life. You taught, and your lyrics are so profound. Is there a way, I was thinking about this, like you have to be like obsessed with it, right? To be as good as you are. Like you can't be a dabbler. You can't be a part-time songwriter. Like a song, the songs of the self-titled album, which is so good, I had a chance to preview it. They come from like a lifetime of like work that you put into this. You have to be obsessed. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think, I think it's different for everyone, but I know that I wrote, I don't know, probably hundreds of terrible songs before I wrote anything good. And I do think it's like at a certain point, you were saying about us doing it for as long as we have. It is, it's just a love of the game thing. I do love it. Like I do it because I like it. And I'll do it after the band is done. It's just kind of part of my day at this point. I love writing songs. My favorite thing to do.
But Eddie, let me bring you in here. Like, let's say you're making an album like, like Welcome Back, the 2018 album, which is so good. Not a lot of filler in that album, but like a song like Fool or like Shallow City that opens that album, so good. How do you guys know that those are the good songs and not, like Tim said, he writes hundreds of songs a year, not thousands, just like here in Nashville. How do you guys know to pick those for like what album? How do you guys know that like Fool is going to be the single and not like the other like 10,
Okay.
I think, Tim will send songs in batches, and typically we try to stick to those batches of songs for the record. So I'll send maybe like 20 or 30 and we'll cut it down. But then once we have like our favorites, which usually those filter up from the batch pretty quickly. Once we have those and we're working through kind of filling out the record, that's when I think sometimes we'll go back into, previous recordings or demos or songs that Tim has written that we never recorded, just try to fill out the record sonically based on what makes sense, given like the flow of the songs from one to another and like kind of how we want the record to move and kind of breathe as it goes. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that's an interesting process. Okay, cool. And by the way, Tim, I know you've talked about this ad nauseum, but like for my audience, you taught English for 3 years at Bronx High School long time ago when you were a younger chap, but you did the music thing at nights as well. What skills from this era like do you still have with you? Because you're a great performer, you're a great artist. Is part of this like remnants from like when you were teaching like younger students? Any of that?
That's a great question. Yeah, I mean, I think that was an interesting time because I was doing the teaching, which was very challenging, but also obviously very rewarding. And I was playing the music, at night, on the weekends, whatever. And I was living in New York at the time, like you mentioned, I was in the Bronx where I was teaching. And at that point, I don't know if it's still like this, honestly, but at that point, like the open mic scene was like really, you could play every night of the week if you wanted to. And I did almost. And I think that was a formative period to learn how to write and how to play, and just like learning from other artists who I was kind of hooked to me. I was like, what are they doing? Why are they so good? And yeah, you just kind of get over your fear of performing pretty quick because it's terrifying when you start, So I think that it was like 3 or 4 year stretch. That was huge for the kind of, growth from a novice to whatever I am now.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, guys, you guys have been so good with your time. And Tim, I think you may play a little song for us. But Eddie, let me ask you this. You mentioned you're married, correct? So, you guys have been touring for a long time. And, you guys remind me of some friends here in Nashville that are also kind of like our age, touring musicians, successful. And it makes me want to ask you, Eddie, how has like touring and performing changed for you as an artist? Now that, we're kind of like in our 30s or something, we're no longer like 22-year-olds. Like how has it like evolved a little bit for you as a touring musician?
Honestly, that's something that I haven't had to deal with much yet. Just because we got married in September of 2022, but before then we had 2-year, 3-year break because of the pandemic. So
sure,
it's definitely something. I mean, to be completely honest, I think for a long while I was kind of like after Some Still Morning or around that time, I was like really, really itching to tour again. But then with such a long break from touring, I was kind of like, I think I'd be okay not hitting the road ever again. And then recently we played one show. It was just like a one-off show. And it kind of like reignited something.
You got the rush.
Yeah, it kind of was something that I didn't expect to happen, but was a nice reminder of like why we do shows beyond just recording in the studio. Because doing the studio work and working on songs is like, you don't lose that. Even with distance, you don't lose that. But playing shows, on the surface level can be pretty terrifying, can be pretty daunting with all the like things that go into it. But yeah, we'll see how it goes once we actually hit the road for real.
Yeah, and you guys are gonna hit the road pretty good in Europe too. Would you agree with that, Tim? Is it like, when you start singing, in front of a crowd and you start seeing the reaction and that energy starts flowing, is that where you're like, this is why I do all this shit?
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it was a phenomenon not playing as long as we did after having toured forever. We took a long break, and then just playing one show last month. I think we were both driving home, and we were like, man, that's so awesome. Like, we got to keep doing it. Yeah, it's like it's a feeling unlike any other to just connect with people, and it's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Man, I mean, we can't wait to be in a room when you guys play like Figure 8 or something. That's gonna be that's gotta be just, how can it not be magical?
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. It's gonna be fun.
Absolutely. Yeah. Tim, guys, well, thank you so much for your time, Tim. If you don't mind taking us away with a song, we'd be honored.
Yeah, man. We'll try a quick one. Hopefully, it sounds okay.
Yeah, we can make a test. But thank you guys for your time, and yeah, super excited for everything that's coming your way, Eddie, as well.
And thanks so much for having us. It's been a pleasure.
Will you still be kind? Will you turn your back on me? I fear it's nearly morning, and I can't drink myself to to sleep. I'm stumbling down the bedroom stairs, and I cannot begin to care. A stranger there is sleeping on my couch, but I'll find a better way. I can disappear for days unless you would agree to help me out. Come pick me up, drive me around. I wanna feel something again, so tell me you'll be here now. Yes, it has to be done. We can stare at the same old stars. I wanna feel something again, so go on and break my heart. Darling, do your worst, like only you know best. Call me when you're pulling up. Yeah, I know the consequence. I'm just so tired of giving in, of turning around the signs again. The life you saved was never meant to last. No, I don't wanna get some sleep, but I know I had to leave, and this will be the final time I ask. Come pick me up, drive me around. I wanna feel something again, so tell me you'll be here now. Yes, it has to be done. We can stare at the same old stars. I wanna feel something again, so go on and break my heart. Come pick me up, drive me around. I wanna feel something again, so tell me you'll be here now. Yes, it has to be done. We can stare at the same old stars. I wanna feel something again, so go on and break my heart.
Nice. Oh my God, my chills have chills, Tim. Unbelievable, brother. Guys, thank you so much. Eddie, Tim, congratulations on all the success, man. And thank you guys for your time.
So much for having us. We great to see you
Appreciate
again.
the time. Take care, guys.
Take care.